Oba,
Talking about Oba.
Welcome back to SSU TV. My name is Abraham Deweese. This is Matthew Page. We had a little bit on the Seahawks today. We had a little bit on the Mariners. We're going to move into the Sounders. Don't forget, though, to like us below here on the YouTube page. Also, don't forget to go to seattlesiteups.com.
There you go.
And take a look at some of our articles. We also have a Twitter feed. What's our Twitter handle?
Seattle Side Up.
That's pretty easy, isn't it?
Pretty easy to remember.
Excellent.
We also have a Facebook page. Same name. Seattle Side Up.
We're here for all your needs for Seattle sports. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Sounders and then move on to Husky football.
Yes, we are. So the Seattle Sounders played Saturday.
Great alliteration.
Saturday. The Seattle Sounders played Saturday against Kansas City.
And Susan had seashells by the seashore.
Yes, she did. And they played against
CenturyLink.
Kansas City at CenturyLink. And how'd they do?
It was a tie. Okay, so the Sounders are a much better team than what they showed on Saturday. Saturday night, they faced a hot Sporting KC team who came in and played above their heads. Sporting KC just knocked out the New England Revolution, one of the top tier teams over on the East Coast, in the Eastern Division. They came in and gave the Sounders everything they could handle defensively. Part of the problem is Seattle Sounders number 9, Obafemi Martins, was not available. He had another injury.
And who's filling in for him? Chad Barrett.
Chad Barrett, yes.
And what do you think?
Chad Barrett? Chad Barrett's fine. Okay, he's not a terrible player. He is a 10-year veteran who has bounced around the league. He is a guy whose best years are behind him. Mm-hmm. He's over 30, and in the soccer world, over 30 is kind of getting over the hill.
Definitely.
Actually, pretty much any sport, isn't it?
Baseball, if you're a pitcher, you can go longer.
I mean more like football.
Yeah.
You know,
any game that requires you to run as much as soccer does.
Yeah, definitely. So Chad Barrett came in, filled in admirably in a game last week, scored 2 goals against the Vancouver Whitecaps, one of the top teams, actually at the time, the top team in the Western Division. However, this last week, Chad Barrett was exposed by a Sporting KC defense who knew how to shut him down. The striker, Chad Barrett, might have been better 5 years ago. Obafemi Martins would have been better than Chad Barrett Saturday night.
But every report we've been reading has shown that Oba would be back very shortly, right?
Well, that's the good news. Is Obafemi Martins will be back, and we should see him maybe not this Wednesday, but next Saturday, which will be important to this team getting some shots on goal. The Sounders have had problems getting shots on target. They can get the shots off, they're not getting it into the goal area. Well, with Obafemi Martins back, that should replace, I hate to say this, Chad Barrett, if you're out there, I love you, bro, but you're good for a game or two, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles on that.
So pretty much this last Saturday night, the Sounders had 90 minutes of pointless running. As a 0-0 tie.
Well, now here's one thing you got to think about. In soccer, a tie counts as 1 point.
True.
So, the Vancouver Whitecaps, who they beat last week, they earned 3 points for that. It's similar to hockey, okay?
Yeah.
So you earn 3 points for that. Earning 1 point is better than earning no points.
True.
But the general rule is, regardless of sport, you go for the win at home and go for the split on the road.
Yeah.
Because wins at home, and especially wins against Western opponents, so opponents within your own division, are kind of worth a win and a half.
Kind of important, yeah.
Yeah. Think about it, for any of you out there who are not soccer fans, think of it in the respect that a Seahawks win against the Cardinals or the 49ers, it's kind of a win and a half.
It's worth a lot more.
It's like 1.5 wins because you're pushing them down while elevating yourself.
Yes.
But the Sounders are still in good. They're still in good standing. Sporting Kansas City play really tough against the best opponents. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's our Sounders update, and we're going to move on a little bit to Husky football.
Husky football.
A different kind of football. Instead of football, it's football.
It's football.
Some exciting news for Husky football. We had 4 players selected in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Matt, I want to ask you a couple questions here. We're going to go through each player that was drafted in the first 2 rounds, and let's just discuss a little bit about what we think of each player.
Fair warning, first disclaimer, I am a Oregon Duck, so, take that for what it is.
Well, and then, if you have complaints about his concepts of what a good Husky player is, again, go down to the bottom of this page and just type in, ooh, I hate that Oregon Duck guy.
Terrible person Matt Tage
Terrible.
is.
Oh,
absolutely terrible.
He should be launched out of a cannon to Philadelphia and go play for Chip Kelly immediately. Speaking of Chip Kelly, you and I were talking about Marcus Peters, cornerback out of University of Washington, drafted by early in the first round.
Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Kansas City Chiefs. I thought he would have been good for the Eagles.
I thought he would have been good for the Eagles. I thought he would have been good for the Ravens, who have lost a lot of talent in the corner position. However, in Kansas City, they need corners.
They definitely do, especially.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially facing Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In division, they've got some great quarterbacks that they really worry about. Even Derek Carr is developing into a quality quarterback.
You bet.
My main concern, for him, of course, is they need someone to keep an eye on him. I mean, he got kicked off of the Huskies for a reason, after all.
He did. He tried to choke out one of the coaches.
Oh, God.
You know what, though? If the coach is like PJ Carlesimo, maybe he deserves a little choking out.
Just a little friendly, choking. No big deal.
He's hugging him.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's just hugging him by the throat.
Yeah.
Just very. Okay, so Andy Reid is known for dealing with very difficult. Head coach of the Chiefs is known for dealing with difficult players.
He just doesn't put up with their BS. I mean, he won't stand for it. He's a hard ass, for lack of a better word. He won't tolerate him, and I think he will. I think Peters will succeed in that situation. I think he will do well for them, and I think it's a good opportunity for the kid.
If I can diverge a little bit, the head coach of the University of Washington, Peterson. Mm-hmm. You're a big fan of him.
I am a big fan of him
because he came from Oregon.
Because
right?
he was from Oregon, yes.
But he's also a good coach.
He's a very good coach.
And Peterson allowed Marcus Peters to finish his degree at UW.
That's just the mark of Peterson's. He's a stand-up guy.
He's a high character guy.
He is a very high character stand-up guy, and he let him finish his degree just so that because it was the right thing to do.
Yep. And I, as a Husky fan myself, I'm very excited to hear about that because going through the Ty Willingham era, high character, first thing you hear about is a coach that's into high character players. That's a loser.
Yeah.
The first thing that goes to my head, loser, because every once in a while you have some bad apples.
Yes.
And you just have to deal with it because of the talent level. Look at the 2000.
Sorry about that, folks. Had a quick little technical snafu. But we're going to move on now to Danny Shelton.
Danny Shelton was drafted in the first round, early again, by the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
I love this pick.
It is a great pick.
So the Browns, who need defense in a big way. Well, they need a lot of things in a big way, yeah. But they picked up the best, in my opinion, the best defensive lineman and the second best offensive lineman. They get strong in the trenches on both sides, and they can build out from there.
Now, if they can just get some management in the front office and ownership.
They need management. They also need a quarterback. They need
some wide receivers, a running back,
fans
that'll show
up, snowballs at them. Yeah, well, I know the fans show up.
Good start.
I got to be fair to the Browns fans. They show up.
Oh yeah,
they are diehard.
Yes, they are. That is true.
And that's asking for a lot because since 1996, how many playoffs can you think of? Yeah, big fat zilcho. I mean, you got to go back to
The prior
Bernie
franchise.
Kosar day.
Yeah, the prior franchise.
The prior franchise, yeah.
That got stolen.
Okay, well, Danny Shelton's going to help him out a lot.
He is.
He's a monster in the middle. They moved to a 3-4 defense. Even though he played in a 4-3 as a 3-technique defensive tackle, he's going to be much better as a 1 or 2 technique in the 3-4 model.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. He'll be a run stuffer, collapse the pocket, and they have some pieces defensively that they can imbue or enhance his talents.
Just having him on the line will make a world of difference.
The next guy we have is a draft pick that you didn't like, and that would be Shaq Thompson. He went to the Panthers. You don't hate Shaq Thompson.
I love Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson is incredibly talented. I was jealous that you guys had him being an Oregon Duck. But he was an incredible talent. I think he probably should have stayed one more year, in my opinion, to polish off some things. He's a little bit raw, but he's an incredible talent. The reason why I didn't like this pick is because Carolina already has one of the best linebackers in the game, and this is not a position of need for them.
They have 2 of the better linebackers.
Actually, they do. They have 2.
But I got a question for you.
Now they'll have 3.
I got a question for you, though. What if you use your Carolina, your Riverboat Ron Rivera, what if you use Shaq Thompson as a nickelback? And by a nickelback, I mean you don't convert to a regular defense. You just leave him out there. He rolls into a linebacker setup, or if a 3-receiver set comes out, he just fills the slot.
To me, that's underutilizing Shaq. I think Shaq is a big enough talent that he needs to be in a position where he could get more.
But what is he really?
Where he would be fully used.
What is he really, though?
He's a linebacker.
Okay. You don't like him as a safety?
I don't see him really as a safety. I see him as a linebacker. I don't think he's quite got the speed that I'd want from a safety. He can definitely handle it and tackle in open space. He has all kinds of talent. The thing is, I think he's wasted there.
You think of him as a fast linebacker rather than a slow safety.
Yeah, and as a linebacker, you can use everywhere on the field.
Okay, what team would he been better on?
I honestly don't have an answer for that, but
just a team with fewer really good linebackers.
Yes,
a team that could really use a linebacker.
To me, Carolina just has so many other holes that they should have used that pick on.
Well, they needed a receiver.
They needed a receiver. They could use offensive line help. They could use who do they have? They could use running back help because the running backs are getting old.
You're no longer your boy Jonathan Stewart. You're not a fan anymore.
No, I'm still a fan, but he's getting on in years.
Well, he's also been injured. He's been injured almost every year too.
That's what I mean. He could use some injury insurance there. I mean. There were D'Angelo Williams seems to get injured a lot as well. He's always hurt. But the point is that I think Carolina could have picked better. They scored an incredible talent. I think he's awesome. I think the world of Shaq Thompson. I don't think it's the best spot for him.
We were just talking about running back. Would you, if you're Riverboat Ron Rivera, coach of the Carolina Panthers, would you put Shaq Thompson at running back?
No. No, okay. I would not, because you wasted a first-round draft pick on this kid, and he's a defensive player primarily. And I would, at least to start, I would not.
You didn't see enough in Pac-12 football that said, this is an NFL running back. You did not see that.
No, I didn't see that.
Fair enough. I kind of actually am in agreement with you. I just want to see where you were at.
Okay.
I actually feel like he's a safety. I feel like he's kind of a rover back, the kind of guy that kind of comes into the box and then takes on a tight end. Mm-hmm. But if he's a fast linebacker like a Lofa Tutupu kind, that could work too.
Well, I'm thinking even on the talent, and I know I don't use this man's name lightly, Ray Lewis. That man played he was technically a linebacker for the Ravens, but he was everywhere. He covered receivers. He covered tight ends.
Yeah, I do remember. Okay, so
they ran that all over the field.
Well, so the Ravens ran that Tampa 2. Okay, and the Tampa 2 defense, you have two deep safeties, obviously. So you don't really have a strong safety. You have left safety, right safety. And Ray Lewis would drop back and be center safety.
Yeah.
And that's basically what a Tampa 2 runs. Okay, and I guess I could see
He's
it.
technically a linebacker, but he can be playing everywhere.
Yeah, I could. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, one more guy we have on the list here went in the second round to the New Orleans Saints. Hauli Kakaha, a edge rusher from the University of Washington, set the record for in the Pac-12 for sacks.
I still don't understand why he fell to the second round. He just did not get the appreciation that he deserved, in my opinion.
Part of it's size. He is an undersized NFL edge rusher, but that doesn't seem, I guess, to stop a Terrell Suggs.
Russell Wilson's undersized. I mean, the problem with the NFL sometimes is they get stuck on these size stereotypes of these players have to be, this player has to be 6 foot tall, this player has to be 6'5". We want a big-bodied receiver, so he's got to be 6'6". He doesn't necessarily always have to be that size. There are players out there who have the talent. They may be shorter in stature, but they play like they're 6'6". Their presence, their dedication.
Well, if I can get back to the Seahawks for a second here, and that's your big not hang up. What's the right word? That's what you love about Lockett, the second round draft pick.
Plays bigger than
third.
he is.
I'm sorry, was it third?
It was
drafted in the third round.
Yes.
Lockett out of Kansas State. He is only 5'11".
Not even that, maybe.
But you keep mentioning it, and you say it over and over.
He plays bigger than he is. He really does.
He's a little guy, but he plays like a Jimmy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in the slot. He's willing to get plowed by a safety over the middle on crossing routes. But you're right. Sometimes you can't measure. Not sometimes. You can never measure heart.
Mm-hmm.
And there are guys like Russell Wilson. You can't measure his heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was. I believe that's all we're going to cover for today.
That's it for the show.
For our Memorial Day weekend show, wanted to say that our hearts go out to all the veterans and everyone who's paid the ultimate sacrifice for this Memorial Day weekend for our country. And other than that,
we'll see you guys again next week.
We will see you again next week.
Like us on YouTube.